Seems to be becoming a lot more serious. An ambulance has just come into the stadium and is making its way through a vast crowd of people away to the left. There would seem to be, from where I'm sitting here, dozens of people now lying on the ground and being attended to by police and St John's ambulance. I saw 2 oxygen cylinders being carried down the touchline just below us minutes ago, and certainly there are 2 young men away to my left who look in a somewhat serious condition. It's difficult from where we are. I'll tell you there's an irony here, John, because sitting behind me, I didn't realise until seconds ago, somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and it was Emlyn Hughes. And Emlyn Hughes was there that awful night at the Heysel Stadium, and Emlyn and I had to talk about the terrible night there at Heysel. I'm not suggesting for 1 second it's anything like as bad as that. We hope. But certainly the scene at the moment looks very, very serious. You may be able to hear the siren of the ambulance away to the left, but the trouble is the ambulance can't get through the crowd. And the ambulance is really inching forward, trying very, very hard to get through. But again, as I'm watching, there are police climbing up on the fence, pleading with people not to come forward. Some of the people at the back, understandably through sheer fear, are trying to climb their way up into the upper tier once more, and the ambulance is still trying to get through. It's behind the goal mouth to our left. We hope to be describing a classic for you. It's far from it at the moment. It looks very serious. The crowd scenes are still very, very ugly indeed. I've now seen 15 stretchers carrying bodies away, alive I must stress, and at the moment they've been ripping up some advertising boards because they've run out of stretchers, and they're being used at the moment to take people away to the left, the corner flag. I see for the last 10 minutes a nurse has what I think been giving a kiss of life to one young fan who looks in deep distress. There must be at least another 20 or 30 lying on the ground calling for assistance. About 3 minutes ago, some 200 more police marched into the stadium. Now it looks like a battlefield rather than anything else. A second ambulance has just come in away to the right and is now trying to back onto the pitch. I would stress yet again what I said earlier to you, that it really was a question of congestion and not only a question of crowd trouble, because they were very, very tightly packed in that end away to our left, and about 4 or 5 minutes through the sheer excitement of the opening exchanges of this game, 1 or 2 of them tried to climb over the fence, the others followed suit. Then there was panic all round without any question. They all tumbled onto the pitch. Some of them then tried to climb up into the other tier. I see 2 more stretchers being hurried onto the pitch. At the moment, there are unconfirmed reports, and I stress unconfirmed reports, of 5 dead and many seriously injured here at Hillsborough. Just to remind you of what happened, after 5 minutes, one end of the ground to our left, where the Liverpool supporters were packed very tightly, and the report is that one of the gates in the iron fence burst open. Supporters poured onto the pitch, police intervened, and quite correctly the referee took the police advice and took both teams off. Since then we've had scenes of improvised stretchers with the advertising hoards being torn up all around the ground. Spectators have helped in. We've got medical teams, oxygen cylinders, a team of fire brigade officers as well to break down the fence at one end to make it easier for the ambulances to get through. We have bodies lying everywhere on the pitch. We're still waiting for confirmation, and clearly it will come shortly, that this game will be abandoned this afternoon at Hillsborough. I've also heard reports that both Brian Clough and Kenny Dalglish, the respective managers, want to in fact talk to the crowd. Kenny Dalglish, I'll tell you, looking very, very distressed indeed, as one can remember. And I'm now taking you from my position up here in the commentary stand and taking you down to the dressing room area, waiting my colleague Alan Green.
Alongside me, I've got Dr. Glyn Phillips, who is a Liverpool fan, but he's a GP in East Kilbride in Scotland. He came here to watch a match. And you've watched the tragedy.
Absolutely. It's sheer mayhem on the pitch, or it was about a quarter of an hour ago. Unfortunately, Liverpool fans are probably going to get stuck with this again, but I was in the middle of the problem, and there's no doubt that this crowd was too big for this ground. Liverpool just filled the end they were given. The police allowed the fans to fill the middle terracing section to the point that they were crammed in like sardines, and yet the 2 outside portions of the terracing were left virtually empty. And I stood and watched police allowing this to happen. It got to a point where they lost control completely. Lads were getting crushed against the fence right down by the pitch, and there were so many people in the ground, at that part of the ground, that nobody could even move to even get out. Eventually they opened the gates onto the pitch and started dragging people out. I was nearer to the back, so I climbed sideways with my brother and friends into the emptier section, and then made my way onto the pitch to try and help. Now, unfortunately, there's guys who've died down on that pitch. I've seen about 8 to 10. I don't know how many there are. There was one chap I went to. He was clinically dead. He had no heartbeat. He was cyanosed. And myself and another guy, I think a nurse, we resuscitated him for about 10 minutes, and we were just about to give up when we got his heart beating, but I don't know what the state of his cerebral function is going to be like. We asked for a defibrillator. I've been informed there isn't a defibrillator in the whole ground, which I find appalling for a major event like this. We were given an oxygen tank to help with our resuscitation, and it was empty. I think this is an absolute disgrace.
Dr. Phillips, thank you very much.